welcome or welcome back if you're new. My name's Madison. My husband and I have semi-recently purchased a nice little plot of land here in Kentucky to build a farm on alongside of our family. So if you want to figure out what we are doing in terms of our building situation, feel free to stick along for today's video. So it seems as though we might have just hatched an entirely different plan where the first phase and I guess forever house gets built here facing the lake because it actually has a better view here than it does up on that hill. So view of the lake, try to pull off a side basement walkout over here and like maybe garage situation in that area. So front of the house would face this way. I think the master bedroom faces over here, potentially. That's up for possibilities, I guess. And then this would be your view of the backyard. It's gonna be cows and all the trees in this person's farm back here. So I have to think on that. All right, so now the driveway comes from the culvert up by this tree, across the pond bank, up that way, and it would go up to there, is the new proposed plan. I'm hoping that's shorter. I really don't think it's gonna be, honestly. Are you just having the best day ever? Oh, look, I get your ball. Yeah, let me throw it. Let me throw it. This is gonna be a bad throw. It's left hand. You ready? Set, go! As I said, that was a bad throw. Bear's like, I'll just hang for some lovin's. For some lovin's. So that used to be where the dream home was gonna go / phase 1 build that we'll build onto. I think we're shifting it all to the other hill, which will make a huge difference on everything. Alright, so it is a long time no talk, quite frankly, but we are currently at Taylor Homes because our plans may or may not have completely just changed yet again. So we're here touring possible home builds. We have one in mind. It's the Lance, which is pretty much exactly on that 1,300 square foot mark. So I guess we'll see what we think. Nothing's set in stone, obviously. We still may go with the true custom build depending on how their prices work out, but I'm excited to at least have another option and maybe make some progress faster than having to wait a whole another year to even start building. So let's see. Take you guys along. So in the week or so since speaking with Taylor Homes, we've just been trying to figure out if this is the best decision, and it's starting to really seem like it at this point in time. So more so at this point, we're just coming back out to the land and assessing our site options, and then also just evaluating the timeline when it comes to how the property tends to hold up during each of the seasons, since of course spring for us is going to be a very wet season, it seems. Alright, so we signed with Taylor Homes, so they are now our builders officially, but we are out at the land trying to figure out, do we build here by the pond on this back hill with view of the neighbor's cows, or do we build over here on this main hill that still looks out over the pond, may or may not have a better view of the sunset, but also isn't as private and or could be louder from road noise, potentially. We have a lot to figure out because we apparently have our red line appointment to make our entire house plan / building plans on Thursday. It is currently Monday. So, crazy times, and we need to figure this out soon. So I'm gonna sit here and think a bit. Alright, we're calling this the sunset test because I think you get more of a sunset here than you do on that hill. I don't know. We are just running around trying to figure out things ASAP. And I'm out of breath because I did run from that hill to here to get a better idea before the sun goes down too far. Right. Talk and walk. One thing that I do like about being on the main hill is that I can see our future farm market from our house to see if people are pulling up. I don't think I can see that area all the way on that hill. So let me go test that out again. Hopefully we can get some sound comparison, because one thing I would really like to compare is this hill back here actually that much quieter? So I'm gonna walk over there and we'll see if it changes much. There it is. The cows probably think I'm crazy. So I can for sure not see the farm stand. See if we can wait for a car to come back. I have to give it a second. Okay, I'm starting to think that I love the idea of the back hill right here. I don't know if this back hill is actually practical, because I want to be able to see what's going on, especially if I am here alone, taking care of the farm stand, everything. So I want to see what's going on, and this doesn't allow me to do it, and I don't honestly know if it's that much quieter. I guess we'll try the audio recordings and see how that went, but I don't think you can go wrong. Both are beautiful, so let me see what Sam thinks. But I'm gonna probably catch you guys up because he's like way over here. Okay, actually I'm gonna walk to the other hill, and I'm curious with the way the sun is right now, if it still reflects off the pond, and if it just depends on where the sun is, if you get the pond reflection. Alright, I figured I would hop on here super duper quick because I want to let you guys know that we officially did sign with Taylor Homes to build our house, which is very exciting, which is, what, 4 days ago maybe? We're moving a little bit faster than we have been because we've been sitting on this property for eight months now. Good Lord. Time is just flying by, but we are officially in the process of building. We are actually doing a redlining appointment today, aka making the current house plan that we're modeling off of into the house plan that we want. But I need to be in there in like 2 minutes, and I like to be early, so I'm gonna head out and I'll talk to you guys hopefully later, if not maybe tomorrow if it's not too late tonight. That made no sense. I will talk to you guys tomorrow because it'll probably be too late tonight. Clearly I've not been getting enough sleep these days. Goodness.
Which way do you want your, Ooh, look how shiny that one is. Holy crap. Oh, it looked like kind of like a butcher block. I didn't know we had.
Alright guys, the amount of time I have spent moving around this theoretical paper furniture made out of sticky notes is just downright stupid. It is also ridiculous to me how much quality furniture we have somehow managed to accumulate in only being married and owning a home for about 3 years. What the actual heck? Also, the things that you have to think about when building a home are beyond detailed. Like, which way do you want the door to swing? How do you want certain things oriented? Where do you want your outlets? Where's your furniture going to go? Because that's going to determine kind of how you want your windows and all those kinds of things. And if you're a person like me that likes symmetry, then how are you going to one day force the symmetry to come in here if you ever get to upgrade your kitchen and do future expansions on your house and blah, blah, blah. And I know that some people are going to think that like having your basement or basement door as soon as you enter your house is weird. I won't entirely disagree with you, but there is no better place to put it. And honestly, at least this way you get windows, so it's not like some dark, creepy staircase. But here's what we're working with so far. I'm thinking that we're actually in a really good place. We were considering doing a actually permanent island here, but I don't want to have little flexibility with where things can go. Because if this was the island, it would be much bigger than this. It would probably be all the way out to here and probably about as wide as that table, which means that you would not have room for our current dining room table and hutch and everything else that we have currently accumulated. So, with that being said, here's what we're looking at. I am trying to figure out how to make things maybe more symmetrical or visually balanced on this side. But at the same time, we are working with 1,300 square feet, which is the absolute minimum that we can build. Because the basement right now is purely just going to be for storage and basically tornado shelter, since we have now owned this property for roughly 8 months and there's been at least 3 tornadoes that have gone in the vicinity of our property. So for safety and storage reasons, this is a must. Like, it's non-negotiable. But this is where we are. This is what we were doing with the red line. This is us rearranging things. I mean, this entire side of the house had to be completely reworked. The only thing that's stayed the same is literally this section, and even here I'm going to have them flip this for future reasons. So, fun times. Alright guys, this is the first time in months that we finally have our middle creek back. This one runs like, I guess, parallel a little bit. Both kind of run parallel to our property. We haven't had water flow or even water coming down that center section, I think, since maybe April, and it's now November, middle of November. We also haven't had a flow of water, and I don't even know how long. Like, I was gonna go for a walk, but I don't know if my boots are deep enough for that. So that's exciting. We can keep going.
Wait a minute. I'm stopping. Awesome.
Because you found the home of Maker's Mark. You have to look for Maker's Mark. That's funny.
Be there in a few minutes.
Sounds good. Just checking out his pastures. I think he has 6 right here. 6 with electro netting. So right about now you're probably like, what does Maker's Mark have anything to do with the house building process? Well, I'll tell you. Essentially, one of the farmers that has partnered with Maker's Mark to provide them with lamb for their restaurant has part of his current farm operations on Maker's Mark, and he was kind enough to not only come out to our property and give us some tips and tricks, but also to go out to his property to show how we could implement similar systems on ours, which thereby would also impact potential house locations. Because again, you don't want to have things too far apart. You want to be able to see all the animals, and of course logistical reasons of running water as needed. So all these things were playing into our decisions for the future.
Close the gate behind you.
Yeah.
It's much easier than having to chase them all over, and particularly out here where.
Alright, so we are at Maker's Mark today, checking out my friend's / connections sheep operation, since he does get to have his pasture at Maker's Mark as part of a regenerative farming initiative. So that's really cool, but there are people everywhere, and it's really neat to see his operation on this scale, because he had 300 acres that was a cattle farm and has since moved everything to here. But that's it for now. I'm gonna keep learning all the good things. I have a note list a mile long in my phone right now.
The latest you have is that we can stay is 1:30, correct?
Yeah.
So if we do the little lamb thing and whatever, and come back, and then I will. Moonlight was getting theirs from somebody in Nashville, I think.
Oh wow. Alright guys, I am back home now from Maker's Mark and seeing the sheep operation that my uncle's longtime friend has going there. And truly, I think that he will be the person that we might purchase quite a few of our first breeding ewes and creating our flock or herd with. So that's exciting. Granted, we have to get all the infrastructure up and going, namely the fencing. So currently my plan is trying to figure out, do we just start with like electric netting and move on from there? Or do we make the upfront investment and go ahead and cattle panel the whole main pasture of the farm? Because that pasture will be the one that we subdivide into, I don't even know how many pastures, maybe 15 different sub pastures within the main pasture, I think is our plan right now. But oh my God, was he a wealth of knowledge. Truly, I feel like I could spend so much more time with him. This is our second time meeting with him. He came out to our property, which was the nicest thing someone could have ever done, is come out to our property, tell us what our pasture looks like, how we can improve it, where we would put things, ideally where to locate things, where to put the water, all of that. And even honestly, like where to subdivide pastures potentially as well. So immensely helpful. I could not be more grateful. But today we got to explore on Maker's Mark. He even took us around a brief little tour of the property and into some of the garden sections and all of their tree research ventures, which is honestly fascinating because apparently they have like 10,000 white oak trees they've planted, because that's what bourbon barrels are made out of here in Kentucky. That way, if something was to ever happen to a certain subspecies of the white oak, they can investigate it on their end. So I found that very neat. But overall, his group of Katahdin sheep just are very sound. All of his breeding practices and selection practices are something I completely agree with, because truly he is as much about natural selection as possible in a low maintenance flock. So he doesn't baby these sheep at all. If they're not good mothers, they gotta go. They haven't became mothers in at least, I think he had one that was 3 years, 3 years, which is very generous without getting pregnant and bringing lambs, obviously. So those are going. But overall, he doesn't use dewormer. He doesn't feed them any kind of grain. He doesn't do any kind of hoof care, nothing. Basically, he selected a cream of the crop group of Katahdin sheep that are kind of mixed with some Dorper here and there, but overall, truly could not be a better flock of sheep to choose from. So I'm very interested in that. I'm just curious at this point to see when we can actually get the sheep, because obviously we need the infrastructure in place. We need to be out on the property because we are not close enough feasibly for me to currently drive out there on a daily basis to go check on them. So we'll just see. All in all, life is so exciting right now, and I love learning. I think that's my favorite thing about this project so far, is that it's been so much learning, whether that be learning about our pastures, learning about different breeds of sheep, doing all kinds of research, trying to figure out what breed of sheep do I want. I've heard amazing things about Dorpers as far as like them having a great meat carcass. Sorry for any vegans, vegetarians, or animal lovers out there, but if you're selling them for that purpose, they are kind of the best hair sheep for that purpose. But Katahdin are just the best sheep in my opinion so far, because they're the least high maintenance. Honestly, least maintenance in general. He's created an amazing group of sheep, so I cannot wait to look through those at some point for purchasing. However, it's still a while ways off, so we need to get this house under wraps, which we are submitting our blueprints Sunday. So we have 2 more days to solidify everything for the house build, and then it goes into blueprints and everything is done. Like we've done a red line, it's gonna be set in stone other than like decor things and like colors and stuff like that. But that is it for now. I have coffee brewing because I desperately need some, and I have to get back into doing clinical work. So hopefully I'll talk to you guys again soon. It is very much hit or miss these days, but I'll talk to you guys about that another time. So bye for now.
Looks like it is.
It's on the back side.
The front side. At least at the bottom and top.
I mean, but like, we only need it to be right here. This is where 4 feet is what it is for sheep. And they're not gonna.
Looks like they don't have the bottom done.
Well, that's why we're gonna put ours in that goes down to like right in there.
No, I'm talking about even right there. Look.
I think the electric fence used to be on this side of these, but I don't think any of these have wire now. I think you took all the wire out. Let's see. No wire, but they still have the energizers or whatever it takes to make them electric for one whole strand at nose level, of course. Also, look how full our pond is. We haven't seen it this full and I don't even know how long. Like, truly, I feel like it maybe hangs out normally, like, over there.
That's where we eat.
Sassy. When's the last time you saw water there, honestly?
Honestly, probably never.
Alright, new plan. We might be extending the pond all the way out here, pretty much. Bring it all the way around part of that hill up and then back. So in essence, we may turn this 2-acre pond into a 4-acre pond lake situation. That would be so big. Oh my gosh, honestly. Also, that tree really is trying to hang on, honestly. Look at that. So the fence line by the pond for his parents is on the inside. So something to consider. Alright, so we're at the fence by the pond on our portion. And it is currently on the inside of the fence as well. So if we want to use this fence, we're going to have to put in some fence posts in between. That way there's a little bit more strength. Because I'd say each of these is about, I don't know, 15, no, probably more like 30 feet. And I would want about 15, 16 feet for cattle panels and whatever between here and there. So I'm thinking we fence on the outside of these since, well, actually, that's funny. It runs on the inside, outside, back to the inside of the fence again. This property is so interesting. Alright, long time no talk. I think last time we spoke was last Thursday when we had our foreman out to discuss locations of our house up there. I'm currently down where the flower farm and basically all of the market farm I intend to be located. We were out here last, we had a huge rainfall. I think it was like 4 to 5 inches within about 24 to 36 hours or so. So this area was like kind of boggy the closer you got to the creek. So I'm kind of just inspecting it now, like a week later, what it's like. So when we were out here, it was literally hours after it had stopped raining. Therefore, there was a lot of puddled and standing water still. So I'm trying to see how soft the ground is in some areas to figure out where things should or shouldn't go. Because like right here, outside's about on the middle third of the flower farm, it's very boggy. So like if something was to go here, it has to be something that can tolerate wet feet more so. Like it's squishy and sloshy. Christmas trees would not put up with this at all. Like my feet are sinking into something over here. So I'm trying to figure out where things are gonna go. But now that I'm back on solid ground over here, which I would say this is about maybe an acre-ish. This will be where the Christmas trees go, at least is my intention. Then as we go back that way, we will have peonies and lavender and like the main cut flower production of about an acre, acre and a half of annuals opposed to perennials. So that's currently my plans. It is a very frigid day here. It's like 35 with a feel like of like 32 right now. Hence the beanie and full-on puffer jacket, but ain't gonna stop me from coming out here, that's for sure. Alright, here's another good look at that area. That side dips down and is very boggy. Is that you can see the color differentiation as it runs back towards the creek. So again, I think here will be market area And eventually I do want to line this entire fence line with some kind of evergreen, maybe mixed with like magnolias. I think that would be quite pretty.